Om Makradunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः सुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितदद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste
Namaste,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste Guruji, pranam.
Pranam, pranam.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानं अवसाधयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः. So with the previous shloka, Krishna completed the topic of the first general discipline, Bahiranga Sadhanam number 1. And what is that? Which is using karma yogi or karma yoga to reach equanimity of the mind, balance of mind, avoiding extreme reactions in our day-to-day transactions. Now, in this shloka, as I said in the last class, Krishna introduces two more important Bahiranga sadhanams. The first is prayatna, engaging in action by using our free will appropriately in shaping our future. One should shed a fatalistic attitude and accept fate as one of the factors which influences the future, the other being free will. If we are talking about free will, we are not negating fate. Fate certainly, destiny certainly has got a bearing on the future, but it will be wrong to assume that destiny only has the bearing on the future. To some extent, the future can be modified using our free will. And therefore, we need to understand that fate alone does not determine the future. Fate may present us with certain circumstances which may be unpleasant, But what will eventually determine the future is how we respond to those circumstances using our free will. And as I said, every day there is a constant battle which goes on between fate or prarabdha, as we call it, and free will. It is like a boxing match. Who eventually wins will depend upon the relative strength of each. Sometimes prarabdha is more powerful and it will override the free will. Sometimes free will is very strong and it will come out victorious, either by nullifying the prarabdha or at least reducing the impact of prarabdha on our life. And therefore, once you accept free will, then the next question is, if there is a free will, if there is free will, do you accept destiny in addition to free will, or do you accept free will only and claim that destiny or fate has no role to play? As I have already given the answer is that those who go by free will also go by Shastram. Similarly, for accepting punyam and papam also, we go according to the Shastram. And when we go according to the Shastram, we accept both free will as well as fate. That's why we don't say only free will alone is there, because there are many people, they will totally negate the fate. I am the master of my destiny. I can decide what my future is. They are also wrong. Somebody says, I don't have any say in my future. Everything is determined by my fate. They are also wrong. So we say both are wrong. We say that there is free will also, there is fate also. And fate is the result of our own past actions, which we have undertaken using our free will at that point in time. Any action on our part requires free will. And because free will is the course of action that we choose to take because of our thinking or because of our buddhi. And once we are going to accept fate and free will as two forces, the next question is, between the two forces, which one is more powerful, fate or free will? What will be our answer? Our answer is, we cannot answer. Because every time there is fate and free will operating, you cannot predict the result. Because every time they come together, their relative strength varies from time to time. Fate is not an uniform force. Fate is a force determined by our past actions. And since our actions do not have the uniform intensity, fate also cannot have uniform intensity. And that is why we say that fate has got three grades. Prarabdham has got three grades. What are they? We divide fate into three types: powerful fate, medium fate, and then feeble or manda fate, which in Sanskrit is called prabhala prarabdham, madhyama prarabdham, and durbhala prarabdham, according to the intensity of the karma phalam, and which depends upon the intensity of the karma. The prabala prarabdham we cannot stop. Medium ones we can manage. And feeble ones, the manda prarabdha, we can even eliminate. All this we can do by using our free will. And therefore, Krishna emphasizes the appropriate employment of our free will in this verse. Every moment I am facing fate of different grades. every time I will use my free will. And in my operation of free will also there is an intensity. There is a casual approach and there is a serious approach. So there is a grade in the use of free will also. Therefore, the result will vary depending upon the type of fate. When it is prabala prarabdham, it is so powerful that in front of that, my free will cannot do anything. Or even free will tries to do anything, it may not bring about the result that I want. Free will becomes helpless. And in those circumstances, what can free will do? Free will still can do something. And what is that? Free will can ask for inner strength to face that prabala prarabdham. Pray to the cosmic forces. Pray to Bhagavan, pray to Ishvara to give you the inner strength to bear all the adverse consequences of the prabala prarabdham. Because prabala prarabdham, Swami Paramarthananda, he compares to a cyclone prediction. Suppose the cyclone is approaching, what do these scientists who are involved in weather management do? What do they say? They say, we do not have the power to stop the cyclone, and that does not mean that we should be helpless. What we can do, we can prepare ourselves to face the cyclone, take all precautionary measures, including evacuation of the people from the coastal areas, etc., to reduce the impact of cyclone on our lives. And this is called intelligence. So though we cannot stop the prabala prarabdham, we can prepare ourselves to face it with all its consequences. Then if it is a madhyama prarabdha, the free will can be strong to manage that prarabdha. There, the free will can say, I cannot stop the madhyama prarabdham, but I will not allow it also to have its own way. I will be able to reduce the impact and manage the consequences. Then the third comes the third type of fate, which is weak enough, and in which case I can put forth sufficient effort. And this effort is called prayaschitta karma. And therefore, by prayaschitta karma, durbala prarabdham can be wiped out, can be avoided. It can be either treated or even nullified. It can be remedied. And therefore, if you ask whether fate can be changed or not, my answer will be it will depend upon the intensity of the fate. We will not say that it can be remedied. We will also not say that it cannot be remedied. All that we will say is, if it is prabala prarabdham, no remedy. If there is durbala prarabdham, there is remedy. And in fact, we have discussed earlier also in some other context, including Tattva Bodha, etc. A good example is like going to a doctor. If we have some ailment and we go to a doctor and ask him, oh doctor, can you cure my disease? What will the doctor say? He will never say, I can cure. He will also not say, I cannot cure. What he will say is that let me first diagnose and find out what type of disease it is. If it is a minor disease like appendicitis, etc., it can be removed. and we can have a quality life. A person can thereafter live comfortably. Therefore, these kind of diseases are curable disease. But suppose a person has got hypertension problem or sugar problem, there is no cure. But the doctor will say, even though there is no remedy for diabetics or blood pressure, you can manage the consequences through medicines, change in lifestyle, etc. So you do not cure it. At the same time, you do not suffer it totally also. You can manage, you can live a long life. Only thing is you have to observe all those disciplines. So they are called manageable diseases. And sometimes a person goes to the doctor. The doctor says, I have to take biopsy. This word biopsy is a very fearful word. And suppose after that they diagnose that it is a disease in the third or fourth stage, almost a terminal case. Doctor said treatment at this stage will be useless. He will even go to the extent of saying, nothing can be done about this. You can inform the relatives. But even in those circumstances, a miracle cannot be ruled out. There have been, cases where the cancer can disappear just as it had appeared and the patient survives. And that is where medicine is also not able to answer. And in some cases, doctors say, oh, very good, treatment has been very successful. The patient will survive, and next day we find the patient is gone. Sometimes they say he will not survive, but miraculously not only survives, but he outlives all other people. And therefore, in all these matters, there is no uniform answer. Similarly, our future is neither totally controlled by fate nor totally controlled by free will. It is going to be the resultant of fate and free will. Therefore, free will has got a contributory role in determining our future. And since the free will has got a contributory role, an Astika Purusha, one who follows Vedic teaching, has always an attitude that I can take charge of my life. That does not mean that I can actually change my fate, but I can take charge of my life. And that is why our goals are called Purusha Artha. Purushartha means goals which are sought after by human beings, and the goals which are accomplished by human beings also. If we are governed only by fate and not free will, Veda will not talk about Purushartha because we would not have any free will to set our goals. In fact, Moksha Purushartha would be unthinkable. And therefore, Krishna is advising Arjuna, I expect you to be the chooser of your future. And once you believe in free will and you have decided to choose your future, I am there ready to help you. Because Bhagavan can help only those who are willing to put forth the necessary effort. As the saying goes, the Lord helps only those who are willing to help themselves. A guru can help only those students who believe in themselves. Otherwise, the students will sympathize with the guru and will say, oh, poor guru, he is trying to improve me. He does not know that I am unimprovable. And therefore, first you should have faith in yourself, confidence in yourselves. And that's why Swami Vivekananda defines an astika as one who believes in himself or herself. That is the first belief one should have. Faith in God in the next stage. Faith in Guru is the third stage. And faith in Shastra is the last stage. All these other three faiths, faith in the Guru, rather faith in God, faith in Guru, and faith in Shastra will all be valid and useful only if there is faith in myself. Therefore, Krishna says, Arjuna, take charge of your life. And once you have decided to take charge of your life, what is the first step? The first step is whatever goal you want to accomplish in life, you have got the same set of instruments to do them. They are your physical body, your sense organs, your emotional mind, and your rational intellect. That is the basic toolkit that you have. You have Stula Shariram, Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani, Manas and Buddhi. Your mind is capable of having healthy emotions to uplift you. And the same mind is also capable of having unhealthy emotions that can pull you down. Mind is the same. Depends upon how you use it. It's an instrument. You have a rational intellect also, which can choose a wonderful goal and accomplish it also, and which can choose a wrong goal and destroy the life. And this instrument, this toolkit, body, mind, sense complex, sense intellect, this complex, Krishna calls it Atma in this context. So, whenever in this sloka, when he says Atmana, you must not think that he is referring to Sachidananda Atma. So, in the context of this sloka, this fifth verse, Krishna uses the word Atma, by which Krishna means instruments of the body, sense, mind, and intellect. And your success in life depends upon the condition of your instruments. Not only you should use the instruments, you should also keep those instruments in a working order, healthy. If your instruments fulfill certain basic conditions and they are fit, you are lucky. You can accomplish any goal. And as I said earlier also once, this is beautifully presented in Kathopanishad, wherein the body is compared to a chariot. The sense organs are compared to the horses. The mind is compared to the reins of the horse, and intellect is compared to the driver. In fact, if you want to remember this, it is the Kathopanishad description of the chariot, which is what the whole Bhagavad Gita represents. If you hand over your intellect to Bhagavan, to direct it, to guide you, your life will be successful. So Krishna says, fine-tune your equipment, Arjuna. It is like, for a good music performance, and if you have been to music performances, The artists would have arrived about 45 minutes to 1 hour before the performance. And they will spend a good half an hour to 45 minutes to fine tune their instruments before every concert. The violinist, the mridangist, they will all individually fine tune their individual instruments. And therefore, if the music concert should be successful, the instruments must be fine tuned, and every artist knows this and understands this. He does that. Just imagine if a 3 hour music concert requires so much fine tuning of each and every instrument which is used, what about our life, which is the grandest and the longest concert, and which is going to give me happiness and also give happiness to other members around me? And therefore, Krishna says, Uddharet Atmana Atmanam Na Atmanam Avasadayet. First, refine your instruments, integrate your personality. And as I said, refinement means every organ must be healthy. Never ignore your health. Body, sense organs, mind, mental health, psychological sanity, everything is important. I should be sane psychologically, and above all, I should have the intellectual clarity with regard to what I want in life. This is very, very important. We still come across a lot of people who have no idea, who do not know what they have to do with their life. They just get up every day, get into mundane activities, day closes, go to sleep. No goals, nothing. Such people, they have a very big challenge after retirement. Till now, at least they were going to office, going back in the morning, coming back in the evening and all. The day they retire, they don't know what to do with their whole time. There's a vacuum, big vacuum. In fact, they spend their entire life without knowing what they really require in life. And then they will get into sedentary activity like sitting before the TV, watching TV, reading books, etc. All these will contribute to later health problems for them. And therefore, every individual organ should be healthy. And not only each organ must be healthy, they should also function in coordination. That's another important thing. Otherwise, like in a concert, musical concert, the singer may be singing one raga. The violinist will be playing some other tune. Percussionist is playing it to his own beats in the middle of the musical concert. Will anyone be interested in such a cacophony in the name of music? Only when there is complete coordination between different players, music becomes enjoyable. And then only we can call it concert. The very word concert means that coordinated effort. Because we come across, individuals in organizations who are great in their own field, but they lack there is a lack of coordination, because of which many organizations fail. Therefore, individual greatness is necessary, but that is not enough. There should be coordination. We have to maintain the health and also the coordination, which is called Jnana Yogyata Prapti. We can call it integration. We can call it adhikaritvam, any word we can use. So the first advice of Krishna is make your instruments healthy and qualified and make sure that they are very well directed. Keep on refining your instruments. Normally, if we have to refine, say, the musical instruments, what will we do? We will use our hands, isn't it? We will just tighten this thing, that some knobs are there, and check whether the tuning is correct and all that. External instruments can be refined using our own hands. But what about refining our own instruments? Now, if I have to refine my own instruments, what will I do? I cannot have another set of equipments. To refine my mind, I have another set of mind which I use to refine this mind. Then the question will be, how will you refine the other second set of mind? You will require a third set of mind. Then there will be infinite regression. So Krishna says, integrate the body with the help of the body itself. Refine your mind with the help of your mind itself. You refine your intellect with the help of the intellect itself. And once you do that, they will all automatically integrate themselves. Like these days, psychologists, they recommend auto-suggestion as a therapy. And it's very effective. Auto-suggestion is influencing of your physical or mental state by thoughts and ideas that come from yourself rather than from other people. It's power of mind over matter. And therefore he says, Atmana Atmanam Uddharet. You integrate your instrument with the help of the very instruments themselves and raise yourself. And na avasadayet atmanam. Never weaken your instrument because they are the only saving grace. That is the only thing you have got. So by unhealthy attitude, never weaken your instruments. Never have an attitude, oh, I can't do anything about it. I cannot grow in life. It cannot be done by me. Don't have a defeatist attitude. Because there are people, they will say, if you tell them, Vivekananda has done this, Adi Shankaracharya has done this, Ramana Maharishi, they are all examples before us who have achieved what as mumukshus we are actually striving to achieve. But they will say, oh, Vivekananda might have accomplished it. Shankaracharya may accomplish. Ramana Maharshi also. They are all great people. They are extraordinary people. I am an ordinary person. All that I can do is I can worship them. But I am incapable of what they have achieved. I am small, limited individual. So what do? You put them on pedestal so that you can continue to be lazy and adamant as before. This is called lack of self-confidence or diffidence. The attitude should be, if they have achieved, I can also achieve. That self-confidence is necessary. And for me, the Shastra says that you can do it. Why should I have any doubt on the Shastras? Guru says, Shastra says, everybody is saying you can do it. So why should I be diffident about it? So Krishna says, never ever entertain diffidence. Never bring down yourselves. Never develop inferiority complex. Never be too self-critical. Never be too pessimistic. Be optimistic. Have a can-do attitude. This is called self-confidence and self-effort. Two important qualities which is required for all accomplishments, including and especially spiritual accomplishment. And then in the second line, Krishna gives the reason in support of this. He says, he, because Atma eva Atmanah Bandhuhu. As I said before, Atma means your own instruments, body, mind, sense complex. Stula Shariram, Karya Karana Sanghata. So your own Atma is your true friend. All the gurus in the world can only indirectly contribute. All the scriptures can only indirectly contribute. Even Bhagavan can only indirectly contribute. But the direct contribution has to come from yourself. For example, if you have to win a running race, you have to run. No one else can run as a proxy for you. No doubt your family, relatives, gurus, scriptures, even God can cheer you up, clap, encourage you. But the running has to be done by you alone. Therefore, Krishna says, Atma eva hi atmanah bandhuhu. You are your true friend. Atma eva ripuhu atmanah. You alone are your enemy also. So you are your friend, you are your enemy. When you are your friend, you can make the whole world friendly to you. And when you are your enemy, you can convert the whole world inimical to you. It all depends upon your approach. This is a very important sloka, as I said. Very motivating sloka. And this is the message we should tell our children and other people. They should not think that there are other people, my fate and all, they will determine what my future is. No doubt they will have a say in that, but you have a free will which you should use to meet the challenges which fate throws at you. And in the next sloka, Krishna explains what he means by friend and enemy in the context of the self. Bandhuratma manastasya enatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. The Anmaya of the Stoka is Atma Bandhuhu Atmanah Tasya Yena Atma Jitah Eva Atmanatu Eva Atma Varteta Shatrutve Shatruvat Anatmanah. Atma Bandhuhu. The self is a friend. Again, self means body, mind, sense complex. Atmanah of oneself. Tasya for him. Yena by whom. Atma jitah, the self is mastered. Eva Atma, by the very self. Tu, but. Eva Atma, the very self. varteta would remain, shatrutve in enmity, shatruvat like an enemy, anatmanaha for him who has not mastered the self. So the self is a friend of oneself for him by whom the self is mastered by the very self. But that very self would remain in enmity like an enemy for him who has not mastered the self. So in the previous verse, Lord Krishna said, I am my friend. I meaning body, mind, sense complex. And I am my enemy. Again, we must remember body, mind, sense complex. Now Krishna is explaining that further. How can I myself be my friend? And how can I myself be my enemy? Is it not contradictory? Because normally friendliness and enmity, they are opposite attributes. How can opposite attributes remain in one and the same locus? Normally we find that the one who we claim as friend, we do not claim him as our enemy. That being so, how can we say that I am the friend and I am the enemy also? For that, Krishna gives the answer, which is the universal law. Any instrument is both our friend and our enemy. Any instrument that we use in life, no? Whether it is a knife or whether it is electricity or even if it is atomic energy, or to take a very mundane domestic example, our own LPG gas cylinder. Let us take the LPG gas cylinder. Is it my friend or enemy? A gas cylinder is both a friend and enemy. If I know how to handle it, how to manage it, how to operate it, it's a great friend. Helps me to finish my cooking quickly and efficiently. And that is the reason why even atomic energy is a blessing, electricity is a blessing, knife is a blessing. In fact, advancement in every science is a blessing when we know how to use that advancement. On the other hand, the very same instrument could become a deadly enemy to me if I do not know how to use it. The electricity which lights up my home, make my gadgets work, keeps me cool or warm by controlling the temperature. The same electricity can electrocute me if I do not know how to handle it. Same case with the LPG also. How many cases of cylinder bursting we have heard? There are innumerable examples of everything. Therefore, managed body, mind, sense complex is my friend. Unmanaged body, mind, sense complex is my enemy. The body, mind, sense complex under my control is my friend. The body, mind, sense complex which is beyond my control becomes my own enemy. I do not know what to do. Whatever body wants, I give. Whatever the sense organs demand, I give. Whatever emotions want, I give. I consider all of them of my friends, but I do not know if I am getting enslaved by my own organs, whether I am doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And this is one of the biggest problems that we face in our families also. There was a time when parents used to do what I would call is effective parenting. Guide the children, punish them when that was required to be punished. They get into some wrong acts, etc. But these days I am finding very indulgent parents. Whatever the children want, they give. And if they don't give, the children throw tantrums. And in order to control the tantrums, they just succumb to all the demands of the children. I'm not saying that you should just deprive your children of whatever they want. But you must apply some judgment, because these kind of tendencies have got a potential to grow into uncontrollable tendencies. And the time comes when I cannot do anything about it. I cannot encourage, I cannot withdraw. It's like any addiction. If I continue the addiction destroys me. If I try to withdraw from the addiction, withdrawal symptoms can create problems for me. And who has created that condition? I myself have created that condition. And therefore Krishna says, Bandhuhu Atma Atmanaha Tasya Yena Atmaiva Atmana Jitaha. Lot of Atma in this sentence. Atma Mayam. Such sentences, very difficult to translate also. That's why we have to use some simple, workable translation. Literally, we cannot translate such sentences. So, one's own body-mind complex is a friend when they are under one's control. Jitaha means mastered, controlled. And by control, mind you, we don't mean suppression. Vedanta never prescribes suppression. Control means mastery. I do not stop them. We don't need to stop them. In fact, sense organs, we need not stop them. They are not meant for stopping. Sense organs are meant for getting in contact with the sense objects which gives us pleasure. So here control means directing them. Just because the sense contact of the sense organs with the sense objects gives me pleasure does not mean that any sense object they get into contact and I will get pleasure. I must be able to decide, direct them. Don't go to this. Close your eyes if you are seeing something which you should not see, which has got the capacity to disturb your mind. So the capacity to direct, if I have, that is what is called I got control. Whereas anatmanaha tu, he says, anatmanaha here does not mean the anatma opposite to atma. Anatmanaha means uncontrolled body mind sense complex. It's a very peculiar usage. So anatma here means ajitatma, the person for whom the body mind sense complex is not under control. A licentious person who does not know the difference between freedom and license, who goes according to his whims and fancies. For such a person, Atma eva shatruvat varteta. His own body-mind complex becomes his own enemy. Shatruvat, as though enemy, can put it. Like an external enemy. It is like having, a set of militants or Naxalites within one's own country. If they are across your borders, you can fully deploy your army and fight it out and destroy them. But when they are within your own country, you have a limited means to fight them, because they are part of the innocent population. So you can't directly take them on because of the collateral damage it would cause to innocent civilians. And therefore, when the enemy is within myself, handling is going to be difficult. And therefore, the real victory is self-victory. And that is what all management sciences are uniformly, they are coming to that conclusion, that without self-management, you cannot manage anything, whether it is family management, company management, national management. First, you have to focus on managing your own self. Unless you are able to manage yourself, your senses, your thoughts, you cannot manage anything else. Therefore, managed self is a friend, unmanaged self is an enemy. Now, the next sloka. What time is it? Yeah, time is there. Jidatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः. So the अन्वय of this sloka is Jita Atmanah Prashantasya Parama Atma Samahitah Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkeshu Tata Mana Apamanayoho. Jita Atmanah, for the one who has mastered himself. Prashantasya, the one who is tranquil. Parama Atma, the supreme Atma. Samahitaha is evident. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu, he is same in heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Tata, as well, Mana Apamanayoho, in honor and dishonor. For one who has mastered himself and who is tranquil, calm, the Supreme Atma is evident. He remains the same in heat and cold, pleasure and pain, as well as in honor and dishonor. So let us assume that a person has integrated himself or herself. Such a person who has attained self-management. Krishna calls him Jitatma, him or her Jitatma. Jitaha means one over, control, manage. Atma, again, body, mind, sense complex. So, Jitatma means the one who has learned the art of self-discipline, self-integration, self-management, and therefore only Prashantah. So now, how do I know that I am a master of myself? What are the indication? What is the sign? Krishna says Prashantah. The more I win a victory over myself, the more my life is calmer. So that is the acid test. Otherwise, my mind will be turbulent, on which I do not have any say at all. Therefore, Jitatmanah is a Prashanta Purusha. Remember, earlier slokas, Krishna called such a person Yoga Rudaha, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha, Jnana Yogyaha. So even though he has won over his body, mind, sense complex, such a person is not liberated because liberation requires what? Jnanam, self-knowledge. With regard to that, there is no compromise. So if a person has learned to manage himself and is now ready for Vedantic inquiry, we can say he is eligible for getting admission to the Jnana Yoga course. Until then, the benefit of Vedanta inquiry will not reach him. In fact, Vedanta will not even appeal to such a person. Only when I have achieved this, a fair degree of control over my body, mind, sense complex, I've integrated them to a large extent, will I see Vedanta has some relevance in my life. And not only that, Krishna says for such a prepared person, Vedanta will be a walkover. Because in our Shastra, we talk about three types of minds, three types of intellect. An intellect which is like coal, an intellect which is like the plantain stem. And the third is an intellect like camphor. You light up a piece of coal, it will catch fire. But you have to carefully protect the fire. After some time, the coal will retain the fire. Now suppose you try to light a plantain stem. Not only it will not catch fire, but it will put out the fire also. Now you try to light a camphor, it will immediately catch fire. Similarly, Vedantic students are considered to be three types: Manda, Madhyama, and Uttama. So when the preparations have been ideally done and the student hears Tattvamasi, job is over. He will thank the teacher and walk out. This is a Keno Upanishad student. He says, the student says, Naham manye suvedeti nona vedeti vedacha. He says that and walks out. And the other students who are actually wondering whether teaching has started. For him, it was over. This is the camphor buddhi, Uttama student. And there is a Madhyama student. He says, I understand Vedanta, but in day-to-day life, I find it very difficult to follow. The classes are very nice. I enjoy listening to the talks and explanations. But practically, it does not work. All these things which the Acharya says are all easier said than done. That is the cold buddhi. So whatever learning is there, whatever talks they listen to, that knowledge has to be carefully preserved for a length of time for that fire to catch. Cold buddhi. Then plantain stem buddhi, which has the potential even to make the teacher to forget Vedanta when he starts teaching such people. Of course, fortunately in our class, we do not have this kind of Manda Buddhi students. So Krishna says, Paramatma Samahitaha. That's why earlier he used the word Atma for body, mind, sense complex. Now he uses the word Paramatma to differentiate. What is Paramatma? My real self. So for such a prepared student, Paramatma is very, very evident. He grasps the teaching as even it is taught. Shravana matrena jnanam bhavati. Mahavakya Sravana Matrena Jnanam Bhavati. He understands in one line. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. His intellect with such, like a camphor, such powerful intellect, it will catch the teaching like the camphor catches fire. Once that understanding is very clear, what is the benefit? The benefit is Jivan Mukti. We'll stop here. Continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Hari Om.
Hari Om
Thank you,
Guruji. Thank
Guruji.
you.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji, very much. Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
Hari Om.
Pranam.
Pranam.
Thank you, Guruji.
Pranam.
Thank you. Hari Om. Pranam. Any questions? Don't see any hands going up.
Right now it is absorption. Questions are going to come up.
Yeah. Getting absorbed.
Yes.
Yeah, true. It requires absorption, requires a lot of, I would say, self-thinking and contemplation. And they are all practical. I mean, this is the only way out. Stage by stage preparation is required. The Vedanta is not going to just come and say, sit in that easily, rather.
So self-belief is something which starts from day one.
Yeah, that's true.
So the same thing applies.
Same thing applies. And these are all, the tips Krishna gives is giving to Arjuna, but actually his idea is to give it to all of us. If you want to achieve all these things, and this is not necessarily that you have to attain for moksha, anything that you do in your life, any project or any task, these are all essential things. This control over the self, means the body, mind, sense complex, is the basic requirement. And if you find people who have been successful in whatever field that they have, musicians and even, management people, first thing they achieve is that.
Basic life skills.
Life skills.
Basic life skills.
Absolutely. What they should focus on, what they should avoid focusing on, are very clear about it. So, and then work towards it. That's it.
But the result is not in our hands, no?
Result is not fully in our hands. But unless we try it out, we will not know whether positive result is there or not there, isn't it? Because
I agree.
other than the prabala prarabdha, that whatever you do, it is not going to give you the benefit or what you are looking for.
Hmm.
For that, you must have done some very great papam in the previous janmas. Right?
Ah,
So that will show its result when it is a part of this life's prarabdha. Then you can't do anything about it. I mean, typical cases I find are the prabala prarabdha case. I mean, the deadly disease, which today's most deadly disease is a cancer, right? If the cancer is detected in the early stages, when just it has begun, it is not prabala prarabdha, it is most of the cancers are curable. If it is detected in the early stage. It becomes
that there again, that detection is based on what? How do we know?
The detection is based on two things. One is your fate, that it puts the thought in your mind that let me go for a test to detect this.
Ah, okay.
And then you actually convert that with your free will, you go and have the test done.
That thought is something
The
that has
thought
to
has
be
to come,
triggered,
that
no?
is the fate will put the thought into you, because it is not prabala prarabdha. If it is prabala prarabdha, that thought will not come to you at all, that I should go and test my,
Agree. Agree.
isn't it? And in fact, many people forget cancer, even diabetes and sugar problem and all. Doctor will say, you go and test for your sugar. He will say it's a borderline case. You have to make some changes in your life if you want to avoid, this is getting worse. How many
Agree.
people using their free will voluntarily make those changes in their lifestyle? They'll say, oh, it's only a borderline case, nothing, self-denial.
Correct. Correct.
When it becomes 300, 400, when nothing can be done about it, suddenly used to all these things, exercise this, that, gym and all that, food control. Why? That is all prabala prarabdha businesses. So the very thought, like in the last class I explained, the very thought coming in your mind to do certain things comes from the fate only, from your destiny only. But then whether you do it, you follow that thought and do it or not, that is in your hand. Even though you say everybody will tell you, go for sugar test, go for sugar test, we will see, we will see, we will see. That's where the problem, So it's a very fine this thing, always is there. Destiny will take its lead, then you have to bring in your free will and fight it out. If it is if you win, it is not prabala prarabdha. If it is prabhala prarabdha, then you will lose. This is the equation. So there is no question of victory or loss. It's only relative strength which will determine finally what will prevail.
Yeah. If the destiny overtakes you, you only take consolation that the prarabdha was very strong and you couldn't succeed.
That is the excuse actually.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you console yourself, saying
Yes.
that you did your
Yes,
best.
exactly.
You
So
did
that
your
is at
best.
least to some extent
You
it will
accept-
reduce your mental tension.
The moment you accept a problem, it reduces the intensity.
Correct. It reduces the intensity. And then probably you may use your free will to find those ways and means how to live with the problem, how to reduce its impact on a day-to-day basis, how to live with that problem. I mean, many people, for example, somebody is met with a serious accident, lost both the legs, correct? Now, you just imagine that is the problem, legs won't grow again. For some time, there will be all problem, turmoil and all. But over a period of time, that person will adjust to learn to live without the legs. Isn't it? I mean, we got so many success stories like that. The dancer was there. What was her name? She lost both legs, in an accident.
Sudha Chandran.
Sudha
Sudha Chandran.
And then
Sandra.
afterward, I mean, she learned to live with that. Then she got those prosthetic legs and all, and she started dancing again. So it's all again, their free will is so strong. She did not allow the prabala prarabdha to affect her day-to-day living. Prabala prarabdha did its job and took away her legs. Finished. But still, the free will was so strong. He said, doesn't matter. I will not suffer the consequences of this prabala prarabdha, sit in a chair in a corner and keep on brooding about it. I will fight this prarabdha. I will not allow the prarabdha to affect me in any manner. That is the willpower, they come out of it. So we have got stories of all sorts where we can refer to and get motivated to do what we need to do, what we can do under any circumstance.
In order to have that willpower also, we should have the grace, no? Grace of God.
Grace is given, that is total. In fact, you can even go one step further. There is a prabala prarabdha. Right? Because of the grace only, that thought will come into your mind that I should do something.
Agree.
More than that, we say that Bhagavan is karma phala data. Correct?
Agree. Correct.
Now, the thing is, if you look at our karma, sanchita karma basket, there will be bad karmas including Prabala Prarabdha karmas and good karmas, correct?
Agree. Correct.
Now, in
In the
what
band.
form, they will mature, we don't know.
No, we don't.
No idea. So Bhagavan as Karma Phala Data, if he finds, if there is enough grace, he is very pleased with you. He may actually, while Prabala Prarabdha, he can't avoid. He has that Prabala Prarabdha is matured, it will come in this life. Bhagavan can actually pull out some good deeds of yours and connect it with this. So that, the effect of the Prabala Prarabdha is reduced, or at least it is mitigated to some
Diluted or whatever.
dilute.
Correct. Yeah.
So that is why Bhagavan still has got, because of the prayers, because of he likes us. See,
Correct.
anybody whom you keep on praising, he will like you,
Very true. Very true.
isn't it? Whether it is your boss in the office, whether it is your spouse at home, you go
Very
on
true. Correct.
praising them, they will be happy with you, like you. Bhagavan is also not an exception to this. You learn to live in harmony with nature, taking care of nature. Nature will take care of you. So all this it's very common. This law of karma is not a very simple thing, The more we think about it, the more possibilities emerge. How this law of karma operates. But as you said, grace is the bottom line. I mean, without that grace, we would not even have got the human life. So
True.
forget the
Rarest of the rare.
yeah, exactly. So many aspects of that are there. That is why, what Shastra say, forget all that. Krishna is also saying, do what you have to do. Trust in God and continue doing your duty.
Correct.
Other things will take. So you have done all these wrong deeds in the past janmas and all. You are now faced with the consequence. At least in this janma, when you are aware of all these things, involve yourself only in good deeds. The more good deeds you do going forward, these punya will slowly, increase, and the effect of the papa karma will reduce. So all these things are all lessons, takeaways for us from all these, studies or learning rather. That is what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Next class we will connect. Thank you. Hari Om.